Happy Easter, fellow gardeners. Brandon here at the Flower Spot. Today I'm going to be talking to you about herbs and herb gardens, why you should grow one, what are the benefits. So you have a lot of options when it comes to planting herbs. You can either put them in a little pot individually, keep them in your windowsill, put them out in the summer, or you can plant them right out in your garden bed, put a whole bunch in a raised planter, and plant them all together. So you have a lot of options. Just keep in mind, some herbs are quite aggressive. Things like mint, they're going to want to take over, they're going to spread, they're going to hang over your beds. Mints, thymes, oreganos are all going to trail. So give them lots of space, put them on the edge of a bed. Some things are more upright, like dill or fennel or cilantro. They want to be more upright, put them in the center of a bed. So they can work well together, but you're going to have to find the happy medium with the watering. Make sure they dry out slightly in between watering, and then water them thoroughly again. And then keep an eye on that spacing. Make sure they're all spaced out accordingly. Also make sure your pots have drain holes in the bottom. No matter what you put them in, your plants are going to need drainage. They can't sit in water. Terracotta is also a great option for herb gardens. Terracotta helps control the moisture in your soil. It'll wick away excess moisture and release a little bit of moisture when your plants start drying out. We've got these beautiful rectangle planters here. You can put 2-3 herbs in, or you could just go individually, control the moisture content a little bit better with one plant per pot, depending on what you're putting. Most of your herbs are going to appreciate a sun exposure, for the exception of a few such as cilantro, sorrel, leafy greens like arugula. They prefer a little bit of shade. If they're out in the full sun, they have a tendency of bolting, which means going to flower and going to seed very fast. In that case, you have to pinch them back quite constantly. Basil can be a little bit finicky in our northern climate. Some people want to put basil out right away, but it is not a cool wet weather herb. It needs warm weather, and it needs to dry out in between watering. Right now, you're going to have to keep basil in your windowsill until the end of May. When you do put it outside in your pot or in the garden bed, make sure it dries out. Make sure it almost wilts before rewatering, and make sure the temperatures are above 10 degrees overnight. When you're ready to cook with your herbs, pinch the tips back and use the fresh and tender tips for your dishes. This will also allow the plant to become more bushy and produce further tips. It'll keep them in control so they don't get too wild in your bed, and they'll be ready to harvest again in another week. Everybody likes to add a little bit of color to their cooking. So if you're making a nice fresh green salad, throw in some Johnny Jump Ups, completely edible. Same with scented geranium flowers, you can eat them as well. Roses are another one, rose petals, lavender, thyme flowers. There's lots of edible flowers, but it's important to make sure that you use flowers that are organically grown without the use of any sprays, and make sure you don't fertilize with any chemical fertilizers. And you ensure these plants are good and healthy, ready to eat. My favorite fertilizers for herbs and edible flowers are organic tomato and vegetable fertilizer, great for herbs, and organic 100% BC fish fertilizer. So the granular, you apply once a month, you spread it around your plants, and it dissolves down as you water and the plants pick it up. Fish fertilizer, they'll pick up instantly. You add it to a watering can, water it down into the root zone. This one you use a little bit more often, up to once or twice a week. And it's organic, so it won't burn. Great to use on anything edible.